back to Team Angel. I guess you can call this a part two. When Andrew was growing as a baby, I noticed that he wouldn't look at me and he wouldn't smile and laugh and just have the normal, like little gestures as a baby. Being the mother of already three other children, it's not that I was comparing Andrew to my other children, but it's just like something a mother notices about her child as they're growing, Sakina. So I'm trying to answer your questions, but you need to understand millions of mothers and fathers and autism and ASD families don't know. They don't. So your question really can't be answered like in a definitive way. We got to give you a just a something like that we've learned on our own. In my opinion, myself, when Andrew was born, there wasn't the there wasn't the support that there is today. Like, I don't want anyone to ever have to give birth to an autistic child, ever. But it's we are given our children for whatever they come in our life. But to have an autistic child today, it's not like it was 20 years ago, and then even in the 80s, because that's when it was starting to be noticed but wasn't out there, So now that we've got social media and YouTube and Facebook and Google and DuckDuckGo, whatever you want to look it up on, there's information, but there's a lot of misinformation, and it's very, very confusing. So when a mother does give birth to an autistic child, it's with each individual child that's going to have whatever level of the spectrum that child is going to fall in. You have a spectrum from 0 to 36. So I'll use Andrew as an example. I hope this runs long. I knew that there were things about Andrew that I was questioning. And this is the gospel truth. I was watching, a long time ago, I was watching Channel 8 midday news, and Susan St. James, the medical part of the news, said, if your child has any of these, and she listed 10 certain things: no joyful smiles, no looking at you directly, and there was 10 things that if a child had these 10 things, that they could quite possibly have autism. And my son Andrew had all of them. And I sat there and tried to tell the father of my children and family members and an auntie and an uncle, and they're like, oh, Angel, he's just a serious baby. He's just a serious baby. Well, when it came to put Andrew in like a preschool, Child Find sent me to a battery of doctors downtown Dallas, and a man came to my house and said, we're going to take Andrew down and have him tested. And as I sat there with all these doctors, they asked me, how did I realize that Andrew could quite possibly have autism? And I told them, and they said, well, the mother, they deemed that I actually diagnosed Andrew myself, but supported what I said. And then they diagnosed Andrew with severe nonverbal, off the charts autism. And that's how they placed Andrew at Bertie Alexander, and he graduated to 3rd grade. And then the rest of it I can't talk about because there's a legal aspect to where something happened, and the second school that Andrew went to wasn't very nice to him, and there's still things going on about that. So, to sum it all up for you, Sakina, there is no answer to your question, because as autism grows in the public, and more people understand that autism, in my opinion, is an epidemic, and it's so wide of a spectrum that each individual child will be diagnosed according to the family noticing what different things the child is doing. And hopefully it's caught early, so early detection can, help in the life of the child. So I'm just trying to humble myself, Team Angel, and answering her question. I'm not offended. If you do put autism things on your channel and you're doing it with good taste, I think that's wonderful. That's how we spread awareness. There's nothing wrong with that. So, and I'm not saying this to be rude, but please do it with good intent and knowledge, because education is knowledge, knowledge is power. So there's not really going to be an exact answer to your question, because millions of autism families, Sakina, would like to know that answer. See, we don't know, like, exactly how and this and that. It's just that you've got to watch the children and see how they're developing and certain things like that. And then if a mother or father or whoever, grandparent taking care of the children, feels something might be, concerning, then you take the child to the pediatrician, and then there's a certain test that you can take the children to, and whatever city or state or whatever school system, how old the child is. Once the family realizes, then they kind of go from there. So I hope that answered something. And you do it with positivity and knowledge. I don't own autism. I mean, anybody can, put autism on their channels. Over here on Team Angel, we got Kenya and Jay Stone and El Michelle, and everybody over here has a family member on Team Angel that, knows somebody that, has an autistic child or a family, friend, whatever. So I hope that answered your question. And Team Angel, I will be bringing the Autism News Minute tomorrow. And I'm going to be focusing on October and November. I'm going to be focusing on the brain of autism, because don't get me wrong now. Don't everybody just say, what did she just say? Okay, let me just leave you with this right here. This is no lie. Obviously, I have a son with autism. So as I've watched my son Andrew grow from a baby to an adolescent to now a 21-year-old young man, Andrew is not a 21-year-old like a regular 21-year-old. He's still, there's work to be done still, and we do that every day. But my son Andrew, now I'm saying this straight out, they told me that my son Andrew would never talk, that he would never do this, he would never do that, da 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 da. Just love him, take care of him, do this, whatever. And pretty much that's what they told me a long time ago. Okay? And that was back in 2000 and, oh geez, what? 8? So, it was very different then. And I just never cried over Andrew having autism. When they told me that, I thought the opposite. I'm like, no, my boy's gonna talk. He's gonna learn. He's gonna do this. He's gonna do that. And with Andrew's will and school and his favorite teacher and me, and I was a volunteer teacher at Bertie Alexander, and me and Alicia Harris, his teacher, we never approached it like the kids will never talk and this and that. 'Cause they told me Andrew would never talk, never utter a word. And Andrew is a good basketball player. He's operatic. He can write his name in cursive. He can make his own sandwiches. and I'm not being rude, wipe his own ass, take his own shower, and we're all about, making sure that he's vocationally moving around, and, he does a lot of stuff, very, very active. So when somebody told me that my son would never do this and that, oh yeah, he will. It's with the will of God, too. So I believe with divine intervention, if you work hard at teaching your child and you're there for them, like, I'm not taking no credit, but you're there for your child, like I've been there for mine. Hey, the proudest day for Andrew was getting his diploma in school and going to the DMV and writing his own name in cursive for his ID. So we are very proud, family that loves my son Andrew, and he's got a good family and a good support system, and it's a lot of work still to go, and I have done certain things that to where I'm not saying that I have the cure for autism, but I think I know something. And that's why I'm doing what I'm doing behind the scenes. Every day is autism. My whole life and everything, I am devoted to, autism awareness and to move towards a cure. I'm not even kidding you. So don't think that I'm just over here, doing whatever. It's always, it's if you could step into my life for one day and you live my life for one day, it would blow your mind. It would blow your mind what I do in one day. So, and very proudly. So, I hope that answered your question. This is a part 1 and 2 because my video ran out. But hey, if you want to put autism on your channel and it's knowledge and it gets helpful and it's, pushes for awareness and all that, hey, I encourage everybody to do that. I think that's a wonderful thing. So I'm just going to take the link and, I listened to it a minute. I was not offended. Not at all. So I think that's really, that's a good thing. So I hope that, this helped you understand that millions of autism families don't know because it's such a individual basis on what the child has on the spectrum, if they can talk or not talk, or if they have underlying medical conditions or anything like that. So I hope that was helpful. I love you, Team Angel. Autism News Minute coming tomorrow. It's a really, really good one. It focuses on the brain and the amygdala again. And that's what we'll be focusing on, the brain. And I'm going to do the music. Don't forget the music. And I love you, Team Angel. And I hope that helped you out. So like, share, and subscribe. And you know me, always coming back with some music.